And Verl, you take it away.
Thanks, Don. I'm sorry I missed the beginning of your class. I would have stayed and paid attention to what you were talking about. I think wealth building is a huge piece of the business that most agents don't understand that they should be their own best client to begin with. And I love the concept of having partners that have expertise in different areas of the business based on what their needs are. I think that's a brilliant way of attacking the business. So well done. Hey,
Thank
everybody, I
you.
was thinking about sorry, I missed you last week. I was at Inman in New York and I had a hard time getting onto the call. You got to see Cleve Gaddis, who's phenomenal. How was that session with Cleve Clark?
Sorry,
That
but
was
what?
absolutely awesome. In fact, I even re-listened to the recording of it too. Took a lot of notes on it.
Yeah, Cleve thinks differently and he looks at the world through a different lens. And as a result of that, it causes me to think differently. And so we're lucky to have him, and he's a great addition to the Workman family. He's been with me since the day I started, and so like I coached him like in his business when he was getting out of his brokerage and starting to build his team again. It's been fun to watch him grow, and then he just had a very successful seven-figure exit with his team. He sold it and is now going to move to Texas and start some new things with a new part of his life, which is kind of exciting. I was thinking about what would be valuable for you today, and one of the things when we talk about sales and sales mastery, what am I really trying to help you do? And that is to take people who are having a hard time moving forward and give them everything they need to be able to succeed, whether it's a buyer or seller. And one of the challenges we have in the marketplace right now is that inventory seems to be sitting longer than it used to. So we have these carrying costs associated with it, and we're seeing more contingent offers. Are you guys feeling that as well? Are you seeing some of that? So what I thought I would do is share with you a system that we use to separate and to make our offers stand different. And when we go to listings, have something that makes us different from a listing perspective. When all you have to negotiate on when you go to a listing presentation sounds like what everybody else is doing, you become a commodity. And when it's commoditized, when the buyers and sellers, what they do is commoditized, the only thing that we're left to negotiate on is price. And that's where you see this downward pressure on commissions happening across the marketplace. I'm a big believer in increasing your value in your services rather than decreasing your fees. I would rather just give them a lot more. And like you can charge whatever you want to charge. I'm just saying for me personally, I'm a believer in like there's a lot of coaches out there that are a lot cheaper than Workman, but we have so much value and we give so much to our clients that it makes it really difficult to compete because the value stack is so big. Does that make sense? So it's not about it's about the value and the professionalism. So I'm going to share with you a system called the Verified Contingency Sell System. And I'm going to show you how we use it as a listing, and I'll show you how we use it as a buyer. And I'm going to drag the actual tools in here. But the way that the Verified Contingency Sell System works is like this. When you download this shift module, you're going to get a module that's going to have a story. And there's going to be a story as if it's a listing agent that has inventory that's getting offers with a contingent sell. And how do we deal with it? And then there's another story about an agent who represents a buyer who keeps presenting offers and their offers aren't getting accepted because they have a contingent sell. But the buyer can't buy unless the property is actually sold. They believe it will sell, they just need to get something under contract. And so there's this catch 22 happening, and both feel frustrated and stuck. And so I'm going to bring you right into the live version of what it looks like inside of our platform because it's easier for me to show it to you this way. And so what happens, we have these series of shift modules. So if as a coaching client, you would see all of these modules that are messaging to the market where we take a threat, then we create a story around it. We use emotional intelligence, and then emotional intelligence and artificial intelligence and real life experience to then message to the market. And the one that I'm going to use today is called, and so we can do a lot of these, but this one's called where is it? Verified contingency sale. All right. So when you open up the verified contingency sell program, there's the story. So when you go to the story, when you download this, I want you to download it and read the story out loud with your group, with your team. And I want you to go through the whole thing because it talks about what they were experiencing, what they felt, what the problem was, what the client had, and then what the next steps would be. Once you're done with the story, then you come back and you say, okay, if I did the seller's story, then I'm going to check the seller's verified checklist. So if you're the listing agent, the way I would use this is I would go into a listing, I would go through my entire program. I would say that I would set up the expectations for what I know is going to come. And that is that we're going to get offers, and sometimes the offers might have a contingent sell. A lot of agents don't know how to handle it. They'll tell you, yes, we do a 72-hour clause, we continue to market it, but we really don't know if that property is going to sell. And the moment you put that clause on there, it changes how attractive that property is to potential buyers because it puts them in a competitive situation and they don't want to be in that. So what we use is we use what's called a verified contingency sell system. I know you've probably never heard of it, but it's proprietary. Our team uses it. Nobody else has access to it. And basically what happens when a offer comes in that is contingent, we have a checklist that we put them through, and we go through all of these things, and we review all of these things. We look at their marketing, their pricing, how many showings have they had. We preview the home. We include the requirement for price reduction if it isn't under contract in 14 days, and then again another 14 days. We put things in the addendum to make sure that we put your house, if we accept this contingent sell, in a better price to be able to close. How many of you like the idea of having a verified contingency sell system that you take in when you go to a listing as another tool or resource that makes you different? Do you like that? Okay, so I'm going to give it all to you. The next one would look like this. If I was on the buyer side, I would do the buyer story first and I would read it. I'm representing buyers now, and I've got to get them to, I've got to get a contingent offer accepted. So what does that look like? What am I going to do to make that happen? And I go in here and I say, I'm going to present an offer, but I'm not going to give you a regular offer. This is a verified contingent sell. And you include the documentation that you've gone with the offer. You send a full copy of the listing with all the photos. The home's currently under contract. It's actively listed. Here's the CMA supporting pricing. Here's the things that we do with our offer to make sure they have it. Now, if I were the buyer's agent, I had the seller's checklist as well, I would go through that seller's checklist and I would say, there's the things that we're willing to do to make sure that your seller feels comfortable putting this under contract with us. And watch what happens to your offers as you negotiate. And then you go into, we then teach a script called the upfront agreement. Upfront agreements teach you how to set the stage for, it's actually a script and a dialogue that talks about the critical pieces in setting an upfront agreement. If I were going to dialogue with Clark, I would say, Clark, it's going to take us about an hour to go through a listing presentation to understand your needs as a seller, to figure out what you need. Are you okay with spending an hour with me Tuesday night?
Absolutely.
Great. And then what we're going to do during that time is I'm going to have a bunch of questions for you and we'll look through the property. You're going to have some questions for me. And then at the end of our questions and answers, we can determine whether or not we believe there's a good fit. And I hope you're comfortable letting me know if you don't believe there's a good fit. Are you okay letting me know if you don't think I'm a good fit?
Yes.
And I'm the same way. You know, we make a significant investment in taking your property on as a listing. And I just want to make sure that you're a good fit as well. Are you okay if I let you know that I also don't believe we're a good fit?
Absolutely.
Now I have a high expectation that we're going to find that we're a good fit, and then at that point we'll discuss what next steps are going forward from that point. You cool with that?
Yes.
Okay. So what I did in this is there was a whole bunch of things that happened. Number one is I set the time frame for the meeting. The second thing I did is I said you're going to have we're going to view the property. You're going to have questions for me. I'm going to have questions for you. We're going to determine if for a fit or not a fit, and then we're going to talk about next steps going forward. When I get to the home, we use that upfront agreement to do the exact same thing. I'm going to meet with Clark and his wife. They both need to be there. I say, Clark, great to see you again. We talked about having an hour. I want to make sure we're still good for an hour tonight.
Yep. Looks good.
How many times have you gone into a meeting and then when you get there, they've made a decision to go a different direction and they say, oh, I thought I had an hour, I only have 15 minutes. And then you'll just have to show me your stuff and then we'll get back later. Like they've already made a decision to not use you. And so what we do is we remove potential objections in the upfront agreement so that we do it beforehand. We do it then when we get there, then we have the full time and then we go through it. So this is us teaching you how to actually go through and do the upfront agreement. Then we have the verified contingent sell script that goes through that. And that's how we teach you to use it. So what I would like you to do going from here is My challenge to all of you is to get into that. Make sure you download it. You download the Insider Mastery. If you guys are the Insider Mastery, you're going to get it already. If you haven't got that yet, you need to subscribe by logging into this. And remember that nobody gets paid in this organization unless somebody sells houses. If there's, like we can be really, really good at attracting people, but if we attract people that don't sell anything, all we got to do is talk about big numbers in our poverty. And so it's both. It's as we attract people and then we really lean into them. What production does is it gives people the runway to build the organization that will pay them for the rest of their life. But without it, it's really, really difficult to have that runway. And so what we do is we help them produce, we help them sell houses. If you're trying to figure out how to help your team or organization do that, then schedule a coaching consultation. Talk to one of my people. Let us help you. And we'll just get right into your business with you. We'll identify where the gaps are, and then we'll one by one go through and eliminate all of our excuses for mediocrity. How many of you believe from a production perspective that there might be another level you could be performing at? Anybody want to go there? Like, so what is it that keeps us from getting there? Like, that's an honest question from all of you. Courtney, talk to me.
Complacency.
Yeah, you're okay where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so how does that change?
Changing your behaviors and habits.
I think that when you're exceptional, and I think you're exceptional, Courtney, what happens is you make it look easy. And so you do things naturally that feel like it's easy, but it's actually because you're dedicated and you know what you're doing and you become an expert. And so you're able to accomplish more with less effort. And so you're able to have a lifestyle that's decent. And
Mhm.
unless you have something that drives you, that's a core motivating value bigger than money, you probably won't change your behavior because life is good. And it's okay to recognize that and celebrate it and high five yourself and be okay. But man, if there's something, if there's children that need to be fed or pets that need to be saved or a world that needs to be explored that you don't have the opportunity to do, then that's how we find new values or new things that cause us to lean in and do something different. And nobody can create that for you. It's for me, it's I don't ever want to have to answer to anybody. I never want to have a decision made in my house with my wife because we do or don't have the money. I want it to be because it's the right thing to do or not the right thing to do, and have money not be a factor. And I'm not there yet. And and then I want to go over to Africa and I want to Shark Tank all their young entrepreneurs and help them start businesses. And when I've done that and there's nobody left to give money away to, then I'll quit. So, whatever that is for you, Courtney, let's figure it out. Like, don't you think? Complacency is if you're just staying the same, you're not growing. That means that are you okay not growing? I don't think that's who you are. I don't know. I would love to see you set some stupid goals, like some off the chart, out of this world, so wild that if you did it, it would be like, holy crap. I was teaching some Boy Scouts the other day, Courtney, and they all came over to my house, and I was trying to teach them that failure was okay. These kids grow up and they have all of this self image issue because of all the things they see on social media. And they feel like if they're not number one, if they're not best in their class, if they don't get to go to the best schools, if they're not on the comp team, that they're losers. And so I created a couple of exercises for them. And the first one was we stacked 12 cups together, 12 red cups on the ping pong table. And I put stations around there. And I said, okay, we're going to do two pyramids, one with the cups up and one with the cups down. And you have to do it in 30 seconds. I'm like, oh, it's easy, no problem. I said, hold on. Now put one hand behind your back and let's go. And I said to everybody else that was not having a stack, that when their cups fall over or they fail, I want you to cheer like they won the lottery. And we're going to celebrate failure. and they stacked their cups and they all fell down and they stacked their cups. They couldn't get it. I'm like 10 seconds. I'm like, what? And they couldn't even, someone couldn't get them apart off the stack. They couldn't even separate them as they're trying to get it. And they all failed. Everybody failed. And I'm like, yeah. And we high-fived each other and I got my candy out and I said, this is the failure candy. You guys fail, you get a treat. We're going to celebrate failure. And like, it was really weird. And the next group came in and they started doing it. And one kid, he couldn't get it. And he's like, I quit. I'm like, quitting's not one of the options. We'll celebrate failure. We're never going to celebrate quitting. And he got right back in there and continued to fail and he got his candy. Then we did another little exercise where they had to toss these quarters into the same red cups, standing behind a blue tape line. And they had 4 quarters. And out of the 4 quarters, the more they got in, the more treats they got. But every one they missed, they got a treats out of the failure bowl. If they knocked the cup over, if they missed the thing, if they hit it in the other guys, it didn't matter. If they failed, they got treats. And they sat there and failed. And then we sat down and I started telling them stories about people who have failed in their lives that ended up doing great things. Tom Brady is a great example. Who's the gal that owns Spanx? You know, the first woman-owned business, right, to become a billionaire without taking outside funding or giving up control of her business. And she talked about all the things that she failed at before she ever started getting good at. And I told them all these stories. I said, failure isn't losing. Failure is the part that is required to become great at anything. And if you're not failing, you can't grow. And all of a sudden, I could just see the lights come on with these kids. And I said, now let's take and do these same exercises again. But now what did we learn from our failures that we can put together in strategy so we can succeed? Yeah, take a couple minutes, set your cups up the way you need them to. We're going to do it again. They made 6 going the right way, upside down, already separated. Then they made 6 going upside. They put their hand behind their back and we said go, and everybody did it. And then all of a sudden, the candy bowl was bigger and they got full-size candy bars instead of the failure candy. The concept is that we don't set our goals big enough because we think when we don't hit them, we're a failure. And I think that we need to set our goals so big that we never hit them. So during the process of trying, we actually learn and grow so big that our failure is bigger than our current mediocre smart goals. Does that make sense? And I've tried for so many years to teach these young boys as a scoutmaster how to look at life differently. Like, how many of you wish your boys were in my scout troop? Like we quote Zig Ziglar and Tom Hopkins, and it's not about the destination, it's all about the journey, and we teach great values. But this was about failure. And I'll tell you what, these boys left there with such clarity on it's okay to fail if I use it to learn and to create strategy with it. I'm going to tell you all the same things that I want you to fail up and do great things. Courtney, let's fail up. Let's go do something wild together, like really big. Bigger than a BHAG. I want it so unrealistic that like you don't even want to say it out loud. 100 million. Like what does that look like? And how do we get there?
Well, my BHAG is attraction, which Don will be excited about, and it's 2,500 agents.
A month?
Yes, I am excited.
Yeah, there we go.
That.
250 this year, 250 this year, and I'm at 77 right now.
Okay, I think that's great. I mean, it sounds like a sandbagger goal. You're at 77. You're only 2 months in and you're a third of the way. You're not setting a big goal. That's not a BHAG. That's a smart goal. It's an attainable.
It feels like a BHAG.
Goal. No, it's not. That's a smart goal. It's a good goal. You're going to be a winner because you're going to hit it. Come on, double it. What's 500 look like?
This year I had a goal of organically growing 250. I also set a separate goal to grow by 250 through co-sponsorship. You know, you ran one of the most successful boutique brokerages in the state of California. Your #1 market share, right? Who do you think you would be an amazing co-sponsor for, right? Anybody that's trying to attract a boutique brokerage. If that's your guys' what you're going after, Courtney's your gal, you know? And so to Verl's point, you could do a separate 250 in addition to your 250 just by making sure that people are aware how valuable the knowledge you have and how that could help them to attract a boutique brokerage.
I mean, what if it was 5,000?
That's great.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what if it was So what if the number was 5,000, how would you show up differently? And what kind of leverage would you have to create? And what does a reverse engineer look like to be able to build pillars that generate opportunities for you to do it? And so instead of doing one-to-one, how do you do one-to-many? And how do you create an engine or a machine around it? I love your goal. Some people will never get to 250 in their lifetime. I think it's a very, very good goal. I think for you, it's a safe one.
Okay. Well, I think I probably need to incorporate Dawn and Clark in this goal to get to that one.
You've got an unbelievable group of people that will help you with that. You have like the support and the leadership is unbelievable. And I've seen people, I've seen people do way more than that in a year.
Mhm.
And they're not any better than you are. They just focused on different activities.
Mhm.
So now the key now to greatness is figuring out what are your activities. All right, I got to go, everybody. Use your verified contingency sell system. I'm giving you tools and resources. Whether you're attracting or selling, you think about most of the people you're attracting don't have the luxury of just doing attraction. They actually need the money. And so by giving them tools and resources to help them be successful faster is going to make you more attractive. So think about the things that I'm sharing with you and teaching you, and how can you apply that to help others feed their families. And let's change the world. Good to see you all. We're a couple weeks from Cabo. Can't wait to see y'all in person.
Yeah,
Verl, what's
Verl,
the
look forward to meeting you
best
down
way to
there.
reach you, Verl, if we wanted to have you on another mastermind,
Have
say, for example?
yeah, just reach out to Candace.
Okay.
So Candace, put your email in the chat real quick. And Candace controls my life.
Thank you.
My wife calls Candace and says, can I schedule Verl for 2 weeks? All right, you guys. Great to see you all. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Happy attracting. We'll see y'all soon.
Thanks, Verl. Great job, Don.